World War II mobilized more than 100 million soldiers, and it became the deadliest conflict in human history. Today, we're asking a grim question. What were your odds of surviving the war, depending on the country you fought for? The USSR mobilized roughly 34 to 35 million soldiers, and about 8.7 million were killed. Average survival rate? Around 75%. But frontline rifle units early in the war often suffered 70 to 80% losses. For the 1921 birth class, the young men thrown directly into the invasion, only 1 in 3 survived. Germany mobilized 17 to 18 million troops and lost around 5.3 million, giving her approximately 70% survival rate. Late war units on the Eastern Front often saw 50% losses in a single month as the Wehrmacht collapsed. Japan fielded about 6 million troops, with roughly 2.1 million deaths, giving a survival rate of approximately 65%. Many isolated island garrisons had under 10% survival by the end. A Japanese fighter pilot's odds got worse each year. By 1944, poor training and overwhelming Allied air power meant survival rates in major battles sometimes fell below 10%. Kamikaze pilots, of course, were expected not to return. Italy mobilized 3.5 to 4 million troops and lost about 300,000, for a survival rate of around 90%, though many were executed or captured after the 1943 armistice, depending on where they were stationed. The British military mobilized about 5 million personnel and suffered approximately 380,000 deaths, a survival rate of approximately 92%. But some roles were far deadlier. RAF bomber crews in 1943 had only a 50% chance of surviving a full tour. The US mobilized 16 million troops, losing just over 405,000, for the highest major power survival rate, approximately 97.5%. Still, frontline infantry suffered very heavy casualties. Some Normandy divisions lost 90% of their men over the campaign. Around 1 million Poles served in various forces, with military deaths near 240,000, giving a survival rate of 75%. Finland mobilized 600,000 troops and lost around 95,000, for a survival rate of 85%, one of the highest casualty percentages relative to population. China fought the longest, mobilizing about 14 million soldiers. With 3 to 4 million military deaths, survival was around 70%. Across all the major nations, the average soldier in World War II had roughly an 80 to 85% chance of making it home. But averages hide the reality. Survival wasn't random. It depended entirely on where you were sent, when you arrived, and what your commanders asked you to do. A Soviet rifleman in 1941, standing in the path of the German invasion, a German conscript in 1945, defending a collapsing front, a Japanese pilot climbing into a cockpit knowing the skies were already lost. For them, the odds weren't just bad, they were almost non-existent. And yet, millions did survive. They came back as changed people, carrying memories they never talked about and wounds that numbers can't describe. Because behind every survival rate is a human life, shaped by a war that didn't just consume soldiers, it consumed entire nations, entire families, and entire generations.